chair of the committee. Jason Winston and Dustin Hillis are to my left, and Alex Swan, the vice chair, is to my right. And so 4 of us constitute a quorum. So I'm going to call the meeting to order and move approval of the agenda. Second by Juan. Let's open that vote, please.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
You've all carefully pored over the minutes of the prior meeting. I'll move their approval. Second by Juan. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
The ayes have it. That takes us to public comment.
There were no members of the public that signed up to speak.
Thank you. I will note that we have 3 presentations today, all in the form of handouts that have been sent to you. So that will take us into communications, first of which is 25C0049, a communication from Tony Roberts, Executive Director and CEO of the Atlanta Bar Association, submitting the application of Ms. Gabriella Cole to serve as a member of the Ethics Board. This appointment is for a term of 3 years. Is Ms. Cole here? Hi, come on up. How are you? Thanks for this. If you could just come up to the mic and tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I spent 7 years.
Is your little...
No, pull the mic up to your mouth.
Yeah, and that button needs to be green.
Okay.
There you go.
Better? Yeah, I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I spent 7 years in Houston for law school, business school, and to work. And then I came back 4 years ago so that I could raise my family here. I work at Bradley, Aaron, Bolton Cummings. It's a law firm over in Midtown, doing both white-collar defense work and tax litigation. And I'm just excited for an opportunity to do something that invests in Atlanta. So.
All right, we're excited to have you. All right, there's been a motion by Juan, a second by Winston. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And do we have our other nominee here? We can skip to that if so.
Yes, the attendee is here.
Okay, that would be, it's a held paper, number 47, 25C0034, communication from the mayor appointing Ms. Candace Franklin to serve as a member of the Fulton County Library System on behalf of the city of Atlanta. The term is to be consistent with that of the mayor. And Ms. Franklin, if you're here, could you come on up? Thank you for your willingness to serve. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Candace Franklin. Been in Atlanta for 30 years, graduate of Clark Atlanta University, and very excited about the opportunity to possibly serve in this position. Understanding background in fundraising, understanding that I could hope that I could bring to this board not only civic leadership, community engagement and outreach, workforce development, and fundraising.
Move approval. Second.
All right, motion has been made and properly seconded. And we've been joined by Ms. Liliana Bakhtiari, who has the floor.
No, I just wanted to say thank you, Ms. Franklin, for your willingness to serve. I'm proud to be your representative.
Yes,
and I think you'll be extraordinary. I hear you do some fundraising. So,
I do a little bit.
So I think that I know that you'll be a great addition. So thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. That takes us to...
Is that vote is open now?
Oh, let's vote. Good idea.
And that vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. That vote is closed. It's 5 yeas and 0 nays.
All right, we have another communication. That is 25C0050. This is a communication from Katie Kirkpatrick, President and CEO of the Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, submitting the appointment of Mr. Christopher Burris to serve as a member of the governing board of the Office of the Inspector General. This appointment is for a term of 3 years, and we have been asked to hold this.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded to hold. When you're ready, let's open that vote.
The vote is open, and the vote is closed.
Thank you. That is held. We'll take it up in our next sitting. We've been joined by Mr. Byron Amos. Could you sound our first reads, please?
Item number 3, 250-1229, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee for services rendered in connection with the RFP listed here, Customer Relationship Management System with Accenture LLP, beginning October 25th, 2024 through December 3rd, 2024, and to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to pay outstanding invoices on behalf of the Department of Atlanta Information Management and the Department of Customer Service in an amount not to exceed $164,500.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 4, 250-1230, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee to waive the source selection provisions contained in Section 2-1187 of Article 10 of the Procurement and Real Estate Code of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, as well as any other conflicting code provisions, to provide services, to ratify the first and third renewal terms, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the First Amendment to the contract listed here, the electric scrap disposal and Premier Plus Inc. to revive and extend the term of the agreement on a month-to-month basis not to exceed 1 year, retroactively effective January 15th, 2025 through January 14th, 2026, and for other purposes. Item number 5, 250-1231, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to accept services received from DataPreez LLC for at a value of $119,945.00 under an end-user investment fund supplier agreement between DataPreez LLC and Microsoft Corporation at no cost to the city and for other purposes. Number 6, 250-1232, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to amend task order number listed here pursuant to Resolution 22R4256, agreement listed here, order contracting services small with Rubio and Sons Interior Inc. to add additional funding for the Center for Diversion Services renovations on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Asset Management in an amount not to exceed $346,234.00. All work to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein. Number 7, 250-1233, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to close the trust funds listed in Exhibits A and B, to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to make any necessary operating transfer any remaining trust balances for the trust funds listed in Exhibit A to the general fund in a total amount not to exceed $2,313,241.25, to authorize the Chief Financial Officer to make any necessary operating transfers to transfer any remaining fund balances, trust fund balances for the trust funds listed in Exhibit A to the Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund in a total amount not to exceed $155,280.83 and for other purposes. Item number 8, 250-1234, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer or his designee to execute a banking services agreement with Catalyst Payments LLC on behalf of the Department of Finance pursuant to Section 2-992.1 of the Atlanta City Code, retroactive, effective from April 1, 2025, for a term of 2 years with 2 one-year renewal options to ratify services rendered in connection with the agreement beginning April 1st, 2025, and for other purposes. Item number 9, 250-1235, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute special procurement agreement number listed here, indirect cost allocation with Aptamez Inc. on behalf of the Department of Finance pursuant to Section 2-1191.1 of the Atlanta City Code, retroactively effective from February 1st, 2025, for a term of 3 years with 1 2-year renewal option in an amount of 15% of actual recovered revenue with a total amount of fees not to exceed $3 million and 0 cents per fiscal year, to ratify services rendered in connection with the agreement beginning February 1st, 2025. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the Fund Department organization and account number listed herein and for other purposes. And then finally, number 10, 25O1236, an ordinance by Finance Executive Committee waiving Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 4 of the Atlanta City Code to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the Fourth Amendment to agreement number listed here, Risk Management Information System with Origami Risk LLC on behalf of the Department of Finance to extend the term of the agreement effective from June 23rd, 2025 on a month-to-month basis for a period not to exceed 6 months and to add funding in an amount not to exceed blank, all contracted work to be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
I thank you. Those are first reads. We'll take them up in our next sitting. As we move on to our other action items, I would recommend that we go to one of our held papers first because we need to let the audit committee members leave here as they have an important meeting across the atrium. So if there's no objection, let me sound that caption. It's held item 48, 25C0041, a communication from Daniel Hampton, Chair of the Audit Committee, submitting the performance audit report on Oracle time and labor. So if you're ready, take it away, and you have handouts in front of you.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Dwayne Braithwaite. The team for this audit included Chris Armstead and myself. We undertook this audit of the city's OTL, Oracle Time and Labor module implementation because our previous timekeeping and payroll audits identified risk, including misapplication of work rules, unapproved extra time, incorrect handling of compensatory time, and overtime and miscalculated shift differentials. This audit assesses whether those risks were addressed with the implementation of the new module and whether any new risks were introduced during the implementation. As you can see from this slide, our scope and methodology, we reviewed the implementation process starting in September of 2021 through October of 2024. In the interest of time, I'm just going to show this slide right here and move on. This is just the background of what we did. As for our findings, the OTL module's automated rules should mitigate several risks we identified in previous audits, but exceptions built into the system reduces overall effectiveness. Specifically, the implementation of the OTL module combined timekeeping and payroll into a single system, removing the need for separate systems and reducing the risk of data discrepancies. The OTL module's automated rules should mitigate several risks we identified in previous audits, such as incorrectly applied work rules, unapproved extra time, incorrect calculated overtime, and/or shift differentials, and inconsistent documentation. These specific risks are shown in Exhibit 1 on page 4 of the audit report. These automated rules are designed to help ensure the employees are paid correctly. Although the module does address some risk, exceptions built into the system reduced its overall usefulness. As of August of 2024, 27% of non-exempt employees were paid by schedule. Risk and non-compliance with FLSA. The Atlanta Fire Department has the largest number of non-exempt employees paid by schedule, 1,013, including sworn employees working 24-hour shifts. 17% of the remaining non-exempt employees were paid by schedule. City leadership decided early on to exclude firefighters from the requirements to clock in and out because they had not been clocking in and out using the Chronos system due to the system limitations and the command structure at fire station facilities. Paying non-exempt employees by schedule makes it difficult to ensure compliance with the FLSA because although the federal law does not require employees to use time clocks, it requires employers to maintain documentation on hours worked. Under the FLSA, non-exempt employees must receive at least time and a half in overtime pay for hours worked over 40 hours in a work week. Capturing actual time protects both the employer and the employee if there are any discrepancies about whether or how much overtime is owed. City code states that each department head shall be responsible for the attendance of all employees within the department. and all employees who are non-exempt from FLSA must have a regular timekeeping method. A list of the number of employees and their time capture methods by departments are shown in Exhibit 2 on page 5 of the audit report. We also found that the time capture exceptions result in dissimilar treatment across city employees. Those exemptions are shown on this page here. Some examples of the dissimilar treatment: 26 non-exempt employees in the administrative assistant senior positions are being paid by schedule, and 21 employees in that same position are clocking in. As another example, 48 non-exempt employees in data reporting analyst positions are paid by schedule, while 13 are required to clock in. While the city created or updated city policies and procedures to align with the OTL system, the policies do not address these exceptions. To ensure compliance with FLSA requirements, we recommended that the Chief Operating Officer require all non-exempt employees to clock in and out, either using time clocks or city laptops. If this is not feasible, we recommended the Human Resource and Law provide guidance to the departments on what time records should be maintained for non-exempt employees to comply with federal requirements and city code, and develop or monitor processes to ensure compliance. The city could further simplify payroll by eliminating compensatory time for exempt employees. While city code allows for this, FLSA does not require it for salaried employees. We recommend the Chief Operating Officer discontinue providing compensatory time to exempt employees. Our previous work found errors in employees' FLSA statuses recorded in Oracle. The city recently completed a compensation and classification study. We recommended that the Human Resource Commissioner make sure employees are correctly classified based on the updated table and develop a quality control process to ensure classifications are correct as changes are made to the table throughout personnel actions. This slide here shows the 3 recommendations that were previously discussed. These are 2. I'll move on to the second slide. We made 2 recommendations to the Chief Operating Officer and 1 to the Human Resource Officer. The COO agreed with recommendation 1 and partly agreed with recommendation 2. As for recommendation 3, the Human Resource Commissioner agreed with recommendation 3. This concludes our presentation of the audit. We conducted over Oracle timekeeping configuration. We appreciate the courtesy and cooperation of city staff throughout the audit. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll take them now.
Well, thank you. Before we get into questions or comments, I need to ask if there's anyone from either the COO's office or HR who would like to respond to these findings.
This slide here shows the 3 recommendations that were previously discussed. I'll move on to the second slide.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Members. Kimberly Finley, Interim Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Human Resources. Commissioner Blackburn is not available today, but the Department of Human Resources agrees with the recommendations from the Audit Department.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. So this is certainly a lot cleaner than the first time the hood was popped up for a look. So that's always good news. And as always, I appreciate when the audit committee finds time to go back, because inevitably everyone's very in cheerful accord about, we'll make all these changes yesterday. And then, we might find out 2-3 years later that has not been the case. Before I turn it over to others, I must say I find Exhibit 6 really festive, and I might have it laminated. Questions or comments? Inspector.
Thank you, and thank you for this. I just wanted to give Amanda Noble and the audit committee just a lot of credit, because you were doing this on a very limited staff, which I know we were trying to take care of. But thank you all, because I know that you do exhaustive work with very few people. So just wanted to give you a shout out and say thank you.
And is your board fully populated now? I mean, we're going to get into, We're going to get into the budget stuff coming up, but
Amanda Noble, City Auditor. No, but my understanding is that legislation will be introduced next week, and then we will be fully populated.
okay. Yeah,
Yes, so working with Ms. Noble, we have the legislation coming in, working with her. I will be introducing legislation with those appointments. They've been sent around to everybody to sign off on.
Okay.
And then as soon as we get that, we can introduce it this Monday.
thank you. Move to accept and file. Second by Juan. If there's something else, let's open that vote.
A lot of credit because we're doing this on.
The vote is open.
Which I know we're trying to take care of, but thank you all. I know that
Vote is closed.
exhaustive work with-
All right, because of time considerations by a presenter, I've been asked to go to another of our 8 held papers, which we're taking up today. So if there's no objection, let me do that. And I'm referring to held item 55, which we're holding to attach an iPro. This is 25R3286, resolution by Hillis, authorizing the mayor to execute a sole source agreement, number of which is indicated. Foxborough upgrade with Schneider Electric Systems USA, Inc., pursuant to the code section indicated here, on behalf of Watershed for a term of 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $4,167,355, subject to and expressly contingent upon adoption of FY 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from, et cetera. I will make a motion to add the iPro. Second by Bakhtiari. You have copies of it. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
This is 25R3286, resolution by Hillis, authorizing the mayor to execute a sole source agreement, number of which is indicated.
The vote is closed, and this amendment will also add a CPO memo.
Move to approve on substitute.
Second.
All right, it's been a motion properly made and seconded to approve on substitute. Let's open that vote.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, the ayes have it, so ordered. Now, we're doubling back to our regular agenda. Item 11 is 25O1182. It's an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing mayor to waive the competitive source selection provisions contained in the listed code section, as well as any other conflicting code provisions, to ratify services and to execute the First Amendment to the sole agreement, which is indicated, maintenance and services for E911, Premier One CAD, and Premier One Mobile with Motorola Solutions, to add to the scope of services a systems manager, and to add additional funding on behalf of AIM and APD and Atlanta Fire Rescue, as well as aviation, in an amount not to exceed $255,179.10. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from, et cetera. Commissioner? Motion to approve by Juan. I'll second that. Do we need a presentation?
You know.
It's apparently unanimous. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to 25O1183. And yeah, this is substitute. I had it a minute ago. Yeah, it changes the dollar amount. Oh, and that's the only difference in the caption. So the motion is to bring forward a substitute. I will read the caption of the proposed substitute. 25O1183, an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city to ratify and accept services received from Softel Communications at an amount of $75,075. That's the nature of the substitute. Under an end customer investment fund supplier agreement between Softel Communications and Microsoft at no cost to city and for other purposes.
Move to bring a substitute forward.
Let's open that vote.
Make my job so easy.
The vote is open.
Well, don't get used to it.
Exactly.
And the vote is closed.
Move to approve on substitute.
It's been a motion made by Mr. Juan and seconded by, I believe, Mr. Winston to approve on substitute.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
Thank you. 25-1184 is an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor to waive the competitive source selection provisions contained in the cited code section, as well as any other conflicting code provisions to execute Amendment Number 1 to the agreement listed citywide preventative maintenance program for HVAC services with Aris MEP Inc. To add funding for various HVAC repairs on behalf of the Department of Enterprise Assets Management, and to add the Department of Aviation as an authorized user for a total amount not to exceed $1,150,000 with all contracted work being charged to and paid from, et cetera. Commissioner.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Davis, I'm Commissioner for the Department of Assets Management Access.
That's
I'm really
close.
glad
Yeah.
we're catching this
For
on
Dean.
the new cameras.
Good afternoon, committee chair and other members of the committee. Yes, we're here today to speak to this legislation. What we wanted to do here is we put the First Amendment, first contract out. We had put a dollar amount on it, and since then, we've actually had some equipment that actually has went down, so we had to replace a chiller out at Public Safety Annex, and then Aviation wanted to add a dollar amount to the contract. It wasn't on the original agreement.
Move approval.
I'll second that. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
Thank you. The ayes have it. Commissioner, I want to thank you for you or whoever swiftly responded to my SOS about the thermostat situation. My end of the hall is now habitable. Now, about the mayor's elevator, I think we have all sort of noticed the very non-life affirming sounds that are made as we get close to being where we want to end up. Yeah, it's been a minute, having been stuck in there twice. So, thank you in advance.
I'll get that taken care of.
Final destination indeed. 25-1185, an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor to amend task order, number of which is listed under the FC listed job order contracting services small with SoCo Contracting Company, Inc., to add additional funding for Department of Procurement repairs and renovations on behalf of Enterprise Assets Management in an amount not to exceed $432,260.70, with all work being charged to and paid from.
Move approval.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
Thank you. The ayes have it. 25-1186 is an ordinance by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor to retroactively reinstate, amend, and ratify the lease with North Fulton Regional Radio System Authority and to exercise the 10-year renewal option to continue leasing space on or at adjacent to the telecommunication tower located at 3201 Roswell Road for the purpose of operating certain communication equipment associated with the Regional Public Safety Radio System. All revenue generated from said lease to be deposited into the accounts listed.
Move approval.
All right, there's been a motion properly made and seconded to approve. If there's nothing else, let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
Thank you. The ayes have it.
And the vote is closed.
All right, thank you. The ayes have it. We're going to take 16, 17, and 18 as a block. They're all carry forwards. 25-0-1203 is an ordinance by Mr. Bond authorizing a donation not to exceed $500 from the Post-One at Large carry forward account to the Center Hill Neighborhood Association to support their efforts in planning community events pursuant to the section of the charter listed here. 25-0-1206 is an ordinance by Mr. Bond authorizing a donation in amount not to exceed $1,000 from the Post-One at Large carry forward account to the Jordan Spears Autism Foundation pursuant to the same section of the charter. 25-0-1209 is an ordinance by Mr. Juan authorizing a donation in an amount not to exceed $2,500 from the District 6 carry forward account to the Virginia Highland District Association, Inc. to support web hosting at NPUF pursuant to the same section of the city charter. I will move approval. Second by Mr. Juan. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
All right, the ayes have it. I will make a motion to bring forward a substitute for 25-0-1210. Second by Mr. Juan. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
And the caption reads as follows. This is an ordinance by Shook, is substituted by FEC, authorizing the defeasance and redemption of the City of Atlanta taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2014B, various purpose general obligation bonds, Series 2016, various purpose general obligation bonds, Series 2019A, various purpose general obligation bonds, Series 2021A, various purpose general obligation fund series 2021B, general obligation refunding bonds taxable series 2021C, general obligation public improvement bond series 2022A1, general obligation public improvement bond series 2022A2, various purpose general obligation bonds series 2022B, and various purpose general obligation bond series 2025, authorizing the execution, delivery, and performance of an escrow deposit agreement to effectuate the defeasance and redemption of said bonds, to supersede and waive all resolutions and all resolutions and ordinances or parts of resolutions and ordinances that conflict with the provisions of this ordinance and for other purposes. Mr. Knight.
Good afternoon, Chairman Shook, members
Afternoon.
of the committee. Courtney Knight, Chief of Treasury, Debt and Investments. When we receive our property tax levy, that money goes into what's called an invested sinking fund that's held by a paying agent. That account has approximately $250 million in it. So what we're proposing to do here is take some of that money and establish an escrow, which will in effect pay off the bonds. We'll make the appropriate accounting adjustments to reflect that, what's called a defeasance. And this ordinance authorizes the CFO to work with our financial advisors to determine exactly which bonds would be the most efficient to defease.
Mr. Juan.
All right, so did I hear you correctly? We're anticipating using about $200+ million to.
It may not be all of it, but that's how much is in the sinking fund.
And the sinking fund, that's accumulated over time, is that correct? Okay. I'm surprised that, I mean, I know y'all do your math and homework on this. I guess I'm surprised at looking at the list of the issuance that are candidates for defeasance that in this interest rate environment, we're still able to find enough reason or incentive to want to use kind of free, it's not free cash, but it is essentially free cash to pay those down.
Yeah, and what it'll do is it'll lower the amount of outstanding debt.
Okay.
That the city, it actually lowers our debt burden.
Gotcha.
And so it enables us to think about making adjustments to our GO bond levy going forward.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I say this every time y'all come up here and to you individually. I mean, I appreciate the kind of the rigor that you go through to find these opportunities. In a million years, I wouldn't have thought that we would even have a chance at being able to continue lowering our debt
Absolutely.
and at a cost-efficient way of doing it.
Yeah,
So,
and again,
kudos.
we'll comb through all of our outstanding debt to determine exactly which bonds would be the most efficient to defease.
Mr. Winston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Quick question, and maybe this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but does this change the maturity date for the bonds, or are we paying them off before they mature?
Yeah, we'll be paying them off before their stated maturity. So when I say comb through all the outstanding debt, we'll look at what the optional redemption dates are, and that, along with the outstanding coupon on those bonds, will determine which are the most efficient to defease.
Got it. Well, I'm just astounded by the amount of stuff that y'all are able to do with this, so good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move approval on substitute.
I'll second that. I do have a question. So upon authorization of this, are there any subsequent steps? Does anything need to come back through us again? Or-
No, sir.
No.
Let's open the vote.
The vote is open.
What? I'm sorry, what? Mr. Bala, did you?
Yeah, and I was also saying that this is a first step in many as we unravel and go through the FY26 budgeting process, because this really allows us to reduce that bond mill rate. Customarily, the city pays 11.4 mils total between bond mill, general fund mill, and bond and parks mill. So it allows us to recalibrate some of that, add some efficiencies, and hopefully support the general fund a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Let's vote.
Vote is closed, 7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, that was quick. 25 1211 also needs a substitute, so I'll move to bring that forward. Second by Mr. Juan. Let's open that vote.
Many as we unravel and go
The vote is open.
26 budgeting process, because this really allows us to reduce that bond mill rate. Customarily, the city pays 11.4 mils total between bond mill, general fund mill, and.
Would all members please vote? The vote is closed.
All right, substitutes before us, the caption of which reads as follows. This is an ordinance by Shook, a substitute by Finance Exec, authorizing the execution, delivery, and performance of a lease schedule and payment schedule, amending the master lease agreement with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank dated February 28th of 2022 to provide for the acquisition of certain replacement equipment and vehicles on behalf of Public Works in an amount not to exceed $7.3 million, authorizing the CFO to amend the FY25 solid waste R&E fund budget to add to anticipations and appropriations in an amount not to exceed $6.2 million, and for other purposes. Mr. Knight.
Thank you again, Courtney Knight, Chief of Treasury Debt and Investments. In February of 2022, we entered into a master lease with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, which enables us to lease various types of equipment and apparatus, as we've done over the last couple of years for fire rescue, for APD, and in this instance, we're partnering with our partners at DPW to acquire various equipment, rolling stock, for them to be able to purchase that equipment at a cost-effective basis through that master lease agreement. So it really is just a schedule that will be added to the master lease.
All right, the equipment list is in the back, and it's always nice to know that we are swapping out our aged fleet with brand new vehicles.
That's correct.
Mr. Hillis.
Thank you, Chairman Shook. Thank you, Mr. Knight. This is probably more of a request of DPW, much like we went through with fire that you mentioned, exchanging out aged fire trucks and fire engines, but I would just like to make a request for an itemized list of all of DPW's equipment and its condition. I know some equipment's in hours, trucks like this are probably in miles, that it details that, as well as if it is currently operable or not, and also include equipment that you should be or plan on surplusing, just so we can get kind of a hold on where you all are with equipment. seems to, the past 6 months or so, I've seen and heard a lot more DPW equipment breaking down, and I've seen the really small garbage truck servicing, residential areas that don't really require those. So I know, y'all are obviously hurting for some equipment, hence this paper. So we'd just like to get a itemized list so we can see kind of the broader picture of where your equipment is currently and your needs.
Thanks, Councilmember. Keith Robinson, Deputy Commissioner with Department of Public Works. We can definitely provide you that document, and council members as well, too. We do have a vehicle replacement plan where we have what should be replaced each year over the next 4 or 5 years. And I believe this paper right here is going to get us on the proper schedule. You can probably see the equipment that we're acquiring as well, too, is going to be at a much lower rate, but also the equipment that we actually need as well, too. So
Okay, as you mentioned, in addition to the current inventory, if you'll include the replacement plan as well.
We'll include everything for you. We'll definitely have that.
Thank you.
Ms. Bakhtiari.
Thank you. Deputy Commissioner Robinson, good to see you. Quick question. It was my understanding that special ops is also funds are being used for smaller equipment. How is that procurement going?
That is correct, too. So there's a part on this, which is the special services legislation, which is funded out of the general fund. So that smaller equipment is part of this package as well, too.
Great. And will this take all of our special ops funding to finance that, or are we going to have any left over for any beautification projects?
Oh, no, this is just for the equipment.
This is for the, so my understanding was our funding that goes to beautification and special
Although
operations.
this doesn't impact beautification at all. So this is purely, new vehicle equipment.
Great. Okay.
Special services.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Knight, while you were here, had a general question. There's been talks in the federal budget, House and Ways Committee, specifically about ending the tax exempt status for state and local municipal bonds. Obviously, this would have a profound impact about the strategy that you've undertaken right now. Just wondering, could you speak to this? And do you feel that this is something that has some teeth behind it, or some legs behind it, so to speak?
Sure. With all that's going on in Washington, who knows what could happen? But the impact would be all of the financings that I come before you with, including this lease, are financed on a tax exempt basis. That cost would go up about 35% if we had to come before you and finance equipment on a taxable basis. Atlanta is fortunate in that we're a larger borrower. When we come to market, banks and institutions love to buy our bonds and enter into lease agreements with us. The impact that it would have on smaller communities, on small school districts, community hospitals, it would be atrocious. The cost, they wouldn't be able to adjust their cost to be able to pay for capital financing like this. So we'll be okay one way or another, but it would be a drastic measure if Congress should actually move to remove tax exemption from our capital costs.
Yeah, well, understood. Well, I guess we'll have to all keep our eyes on it, and hopefully nothing comes into fruition on this.
Yeah, there's a massive lobbying effort going before Congress, investment banks, commercial banks, institutions, and borrowers like yourself to stop this conversation. But again, Washington is kind of a strange place right now.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, if there's nothing else, let's open the vote.
We need a seconder.
Second.
Good.
I made the motion.
All right, second by Ms. Bakhtiari.
The vote is open. Vote is closed.
Thank you.
All right, items adopted. Thank you. That takes us to our next substitute. This would be for 25-0-12-12. I'll make that motion. Second by Juan. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
All right, the caption of the proposed substitute reads as follows: an ordinance by Shook is substituted by Finance Exec, authorizing the transfer of 72 Marietta Street from the purview of Enterprise Assets Management to the purview of Department of Watershed Management to authorize the CFO to amend the FY 2025 General Fund Budget and FY 2025 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund Budget to anticipate the payment of funds in the amount of $16,750,000 from the Water and Wastewater R&E Fund to the General Fund, to authorize the termination of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Department of Enterprise Asset Management and Department of Watershed Management for the lease of 72 Marietta and for other purposes. Mr. CFO.
The vote is closed.
Good afternoon, Chair. Thank you. So currently, the Department of Watershed Management and DEEM have a lease agreement to lease 72 Marietta from DEEM at about $2 million a year. So that, goes back. That lease has been constructed multiple times. We think that it's in the best interest of both the Department of the General Fund and the Department of Watershed Management for that asset to be transferred completely over to DWM so that DWM could make its own decisions about that facility and its future needs of where they want to go. We had the property appraised and appraisal came in at that price, and so we're transferring it over at the appraised price. The appraisal will be attached to the legislation as well.
Mr. Wong.
Thank you. You answered my first question about the valuation methodology, so it's an appraisal. So the funds are going from DWM, is it back to the general fund?
Correct.
And then, so do we have intentions for that funding, or are we going to, I mean, it's kind of a one-time injection because it's a sale of an asset, so we could conceivably use that to backstop the projected budget deficit for the year. Is that the plan? Or
That is the plan.
Okay.
Sir. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'll move approval on substitute.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. I'll just say I appreciate the creativity here. Is the administration contemplating any additional asset sales?
The administration is being very thoughtful about its entire footprint of assets, right? So utilizing city-owned assets to enhance affordable housing, to also make sure that we're well aligned and that the assets that we own do generate the most benefit for the city of Atlanta. So we are looking at other parcels as well to see if there's opportunities.
Now, Watershed's not the only tenant at 72, correct? Are
I
there
think
other
they're
tenants?
the only tenant now, I believe. Yeah, they're the only tenant now.
They're the only ones now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we've got a motion and a second, so let's open the vote. All right, we've got a motion and a
The vote is open.
Appreciate the creativity here. Is the administration contemplating any additional?
And the vote is closed.
All right, thank you. 25-0-1213 is an ordinance by Shook authorizing the transfer of funds from various council carry-forward accounts to the respective council distribution and expense accounts to continue serving the Atlanta community by funding projects for the public good within their districts or donating funds for charitable purposes and for other purposes. And are we at briefing, I think there was discussion of holding this. My note here today says move forward favorably on condition of receiving a substitute.
That's right. The council chief of staff will have a substitute prepared for Monday. The vote is open.
That's my motion. Second by Ms. Bakhtiari. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
Closed. All right, thank you. 25-0-1213 is an ordinance by Shook authorizing.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. 25-0-1216 is an ordinance by Ms. Boone authorizing the City of Atlanta to extend the agreement listed COVID-19 Emergency Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program and the agreement, number of which is listed, American Rescue Plan Workforce Development Program with the Atlanta Development Authority, doing business as Invest Atlanta, retroactively effective from March 30th of this year and ending on June 30th of this year, both of which shall detail the actions of Invest Atlanta to address economic growth and resiliency post-COVID-19, to ratify the services provided by Invest Atlanta, and all funds shall be payable from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes. Thank you. 25-0-1216
Hi, Melody Eccles with Invest Atlanta, Assistant Director of ARP Programs. This legislation is just to extend the ARP contracts that we have with the city. We originally received $18 million in 2022 for small business and workforce development efforts. We did consult with Chief Risk Officer Jerry DeLoach on this legislation to extend the term of the contracts through June 30th of this year. We have roughly $260,000 left of the full $18 million budget, representing about 1.5% of the total amount. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Juan.
Do you already have kind of prospects or targets in terms of how to spend that money? I mean, you basically have
Yes,
3
it's-
months.
Yes, it's already
Less.
obligated.
Yeah,
It's just a
okay.
matter of
Just
documentation.
want to make sure. All right, thank you. Move approval.
I'll second that. If there's nothing else, let's open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
All right, the ayes have it. That takes us to resolutions. 25R3424 is a resolution by Finance Exec authorizing the mayor to execute amendment number 3 for the RFP indicated citywide pest control services with Orkin on behalf of Enterprise Asset Management in amount not to exceed $250,000 annually on contracted work to be charged to and paid from, et cetera. I'll move approval. Second by Mr. Juan. If there's nothing else, let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
25R3425 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor as designee to execute amendment number 5 to the agreement listed citywide security guard services with Dynamic and Safeguard Security on behalf of the mayor's Office of Emergency Preparedness to add funding to the Department of Watershed Management in an amount not to exceed $371,851.84, with everything to be charged to and from the accounts listed. Motion to approve by Juan, second by Bakhtiari. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
25R3426 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor's designee to execute special procurement agreement, number listed, Apply for Technology with Apply for Technology LLC on behalf of ATL-DOT pursuant to the section of the code listed here for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year renewal options in an amount not to exceed $108,000. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from, et cetera. Motion to approve by Juan, second by Bakhtiari. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
25R3427 is a resolution by FEC to amend the resolution listed, which was adopted by the City Council on the date listed and approved per the charter on the date listed to correct the initial term of the agreement to commence on the dates listed and end on the date listed, to authorize the mayor to execute the second amendment to the special procurement, number of which is listed, GASB 87 Software and Consulting Services with GCR Inc. of Georgia on behalf of Department of Finance to correct the initial term of the agreement to commence on the dates indicated and end on the date indicated, to authorize the mayor to exercise the first renewal for the agreement for a term of 1 year effective September 1 of this year through August 31st of next in an amount not to exceed $61,092, all work being charged to and paid from, et cetera. Motion to approve by Juan, second by Bakhtiari. If there's nothing else, let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
You know, if we don't ask occasional questions, people are going to stop coming to these meetings.
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
25R3428 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor's designee to exercise first renewal option for the CPS indicated AT&T Voice and Network Services with AT&T Enterprise LLC on behalf of AIM and Watershed and Aviation for a term of 1 year, effective August 4th of this year through August 3rd of next in an amount not to exceed $18,127,864.33, all work being charged to and paid from, et cetera.
Move to hold. The vote is open.
Motion's been made and seconded to hold. If there's nothing else, let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
25R3429 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor to exercise the first renewal option for the management of the 401A defined contribution plan and 457B deferred compensation plan administration services with Empower Annuity Insurance Company on behalf of DOF for a term of 1 year effective June 10th of this year through June 9th of next and for other purposes.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Juan, second by Winston. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
The ayes have it. 25R3430 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the CFO to write off water and sewer accounts receivable held by Watershed in the amount of $5,015,594.15, where it has been determined that such accounts are uncollectible and for other purposes. I'll second that, but I would like to pose a question to Mr. Williams.
Jonathan Williams.
So thank you for bringing this before us. I'm curious as to what happened with the preceding paper that we ended up filing. And then my second part is, I'm hoping you'll say yes, that this is going to be the first of a somewhat regular appearance of such write-offs.
Absolutely correct. It's been some time since we were shutting people's water off and doing deep dives into the accounts and the status, and that's really what is causing this to happen. We're finding accounts that are not being utilized, they're inactive, people have left, and we're working through those particular accounts to write them off, get them off our reserve balance list, clean up our balance sheet.
Okay, excellent. We've got a motion to approve, and plus a second, so let's open that vote.
I don't think I answered the second part. This will be part of an ongoing process that you'll see us
Good.
at least quarterly.
Annual, or
No,
what do you think?
more than, I would say, twice a year.
Okay, excellent. Well, good. Yes, Mr. Hillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Glad to hear of the progress, but I would like to request kind of a summary. I don't imagine it's a page. I imagine it's many pages, but just a summary of where we're at currently. I know we've done a few of these, and you all are working with a firm to do collections. So just how much in arrears are these accounts? And then either from you or perhaps CFO Bala here, where we are with collecting from the number of other local governments that owe us many millions of dollars.
Actually, we've been in conversation about the other governments since, I believe you raised that question last time we were here, and all of them answered that they're in the legislative process, and they are acknowledging the debt to us and have every intention of paying. It's one of those things that we have to stay on top of and continue to remind them of. But our intention is to collect every dollar.
Hope that they can be firmly reminded that we're not a charity and they need to pay their bills.
That's correct. You asked another question that I missed?
The other one was a request if we could just get, kind of a few pages of summaries of where you are with write-offs versus accounts that are still in arrears, summarize residential, summarize commercial, et cetera.
In a nutshell, over the last 6 months or so, we have been in the process of bringing two companies on. One to help us with technology so that people can actually put together payment plans on their phone. The other is to actually have people calling and identifying accounts. We've got a significant amount of about 31,000 accounts that are in arrears. However, we have seen some positive movement. In the last 3 weeks, we've come down about $3 million in open stuff.
All that's good. It takes time. Some of these things are going to be uncollectible because they're so old. We have to work through GAP and all those instances, but we are making progress.
Understood. So if you could just get kind of a summary document that I requested, and then please do keep us updated on collections from those other local governments that utilize our services.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. 25R3431, resolution by FEC authorizing funds to be added to a co-op purchasing agreement, number of which is listed. Driver risk management system utilizing Sourcewell, State of Minnesota, local government agency, contract number indicated, for a term of 90 days effective March 27th of this year and ending June 23rd of this year, in an amount not to exceed $291,240. All contracted work to be charged to and paid from the sources indicated. Motion to approve by Juan, second by Bakhtiari. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
25R3432 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor to execute the First Amendment to extend the lease agreement for a period of 1 year commencing October 17th of this year through October 16th of next between the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Independent School System for the property located at 326 Moreland Avenue, Fulton County, Georgia 30307, and for other purposes.
I'll move approval. Well, he probably doesn't.
Go ahead, Mr. Foss.
Sure. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of council. As stated, this is a resolution to extend a lease agreement. This property was transferred to the Atlanta Public School System through 24-1297, an ordinance last year. As a result of that ordinance, we entered in a lease agreement to continue to utilize the building for 1 year. That'll end in October. We've worked with Atlanta Public Schools, and they've agreed to extend the lease for another year. It'll start on October 17th and take us through October 16th of 2026. This building actually currently is the home for our Skilled Services Division. So we are greatly appreciative of the cooperation and the partnership with Atlanta Public Schools, and look forward to entering this lease for an additional year.
And what city activity goes on there?
This is actually our home base, our headquarters for our Skilled Services Division. Has about 25 skilled tradesmen. That includes HVAC, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, and roofing. And so we have our trucks and vehicles parked there. It's one of several locations they use, but it's actually their main headquarters.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? I'll move approval. Second by Juan. Let's open the vote.
As a result of that ordinance, we entered a lease agreement to continue to utilize.
The vote is open.
That'll end in October. We've worked with Atlanta Public Schools, and they've agreed to extend the
Vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
25R3433 is a resolution by FEC authorizing the mayor on behalf of HR to amend the health center management agreement, number of which is indicated, with Everside Health LLC, to accept the name change to Marathon Health LLC, and for other purposes. I'll move approval. Second by Mr. Juan. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll move approval.
The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, I believe our loan deferral is going to remain held. That takes us to several remaining held papers, first of which is item 44 on page 16. It's 25O-1056. It's an ordinance by Juan and Bakhtiari, is amended by FEC to provide for the annexation of property located at 2231 Glenwood Avenue into the corporate limits of the city of Atlanta, Georgia, pursuant to the 100% method, to extend the boundaries of the Atlanta Independent School System, to notify the Department of Community Affairs of the state of Georgia of such annexation, and for other purposes. I understand that companion items have moved on, and so I'll move approval. Second by Ms. Bakhtiari. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open.
That takes us to
The vote is closed.
Thank you. Let's see, we've done 47, done 48. That takes us to 49. 25-0-1060 is an ordinance by Mr. Juan and Ms. Bakhtiari, as amended by FEC, to provide for the annexation of properties located in the Brighton Village subdivision located in unincorporated DeKalb County to the corporate limits of the city of Atlanta, Georgia, pursuant to the 60% method, to extend the boundaries of the Atlanta Independent School System, to notify the DCA of such annexation and for other purposes. Ms. Bakhtiari. Ms. Bakhtiari has made a motion to approve. It's been properly seconded. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas and 0 nays.
We have done 55. That takes us to 56, which needs a substitute. I will second Mr. Juan's motion to bring forward the substitute. Let me read the caption of the proposed substitute. Resolution by Shook, a substitute by FEC, authorizing the CFO to refund customers for overpayments to water and sewer accounts in the amount of $375,986.35. All funds to be charged to and paid from the FDOs indicated and for other purposes. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. Substitute before you.
Move to approve on substitute.
All right, second by Mr. Hillis. To approve on substitute, let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
That takes us to item 57, 25R3292, resolution by Shook, authorizing the Commissioner of Watershed to adjust water and sewer service charges on certain customer accounts. We need a substitute for that. I'll move to bring the substitute forward. Second by Juan. Let me read the caption of the proposed substitute. Resolution by Shook, substituted by FEC, authorizing the Watershed Commissioner to adjust water and sewer service charges on certain customer accounts in accordance with the Atlanta City Code section listed in the amount of $116,209.78. Let's open the vote to bring forward the substitute.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. The vote is closed. Substitutes before you.
Move approval on substitute.
I'll second that. So let's open that vote. Commissioner of Watershed to adjust water and service charges on certain customer accounts.
Vote is closed.
Right, guys have it. Thank you. We have also item 58. I'll move to bring forward a substitute for 25R3293. Second by Mr. Juan. Let me read the caption of the proposed substitute. Resolution by Shook, as substituted by FEC, to execute special procurement agreement, number of which is indicated, occupation tax recovery services with Licensed Corporation on behalf of Department of Finance, pursuant to the section of the code indicated here for a term of 1 year with two-year renewal options, all contracted work to be charged to and paid from the recovered proceeds and from other services. Let's carry the vote on bringing this before us.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
Substitutes before us. Mr. Juan.
Thank you. So, Mr. I don't know if this is you or not. So, I want to understand the actual role of this vis-a-vis our internal efforts first, if this is simply a collections or if it will be from soup to nuts. I mean, you helped me with a constituent situation last week where there was an error in our system in terms of their business status, even though they got a citation. I just want to make sure we are being as careful and clean as possible before we hand off to somebody else to go pursue outstanding licenses.
Correct. Thank you. So one of the things that we are trying to achieve with this effort here is to make sure that we have a full understanding of the universe of who's even supposed to have a business license. The city of Atlanta right now roughly accounts for, on our office, about 20,000 occupational business licenses. The city auditors team, when they did a review of this process, had indicated there was roughly 90,000 businesses that are operating within the city, according to those that are registered in with the Georgia Secretary of State. Now, we don't know of that delta, how much is required to have an occupational business license. So we are wanting to work with an entity that's not going to go wholesale and inundate us, but allow us to start thinking about how we make sure that everybody who's in compliance is in compliance. Their effort is to add to that 20,000 and bring in any additional new people that should, or businesses that should be paying an occupational business tax. At the end of the day, if businesses are operating in the city without going through the requisite steps, that cost burden is then shifted on to the existing businesses and other city rates, fees, and taxes. So we just want to make sure that we're in full compliance with that universe of businesses who should be paying their occupational business tax. The internal processes of validating, assessing, going through the requisite, back and forth. If people have questions, that'll still be here with us internally.
So they're just kind of consulting and identifying, but they're not actually doing the the citations or collections?
No, they're not doing citations or collections. They'll do the the initial onboarding, kind of finding that individual, telling that individual, hey, you need to apply for a business license, collect their information, and then hand it off to us.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I just was nervous that we were going to hand that over to somebody when we might need to do some more scrubbing ourselves.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
When was the last time we went through such an exercise, and what were the findings?
I don't recall of the last time I went through exercise. I haven't done one since I've been here, but there has been just an immense improvement in technology and generative AI in the space that allows people to, or companies like this one, which is essentially an AI company, that can interact with businesses that are registered in other parts of government, right? With the Secretary of State, they can scrub email addresses, phone numbers, reach out to them, do a lot of push notifications to alert them to engage with the city.
I'll move approval on substitute. So, second by Mr. Hillis. Let's open that vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Mr. Evans, what do we have remaining?
There are no more legislative items.
Any announcements, Ms. Spectieri?
Just real quick, just 2 birthday announcements, okay? Because first of all, I want to wish Shannon Heath Longino a very happy birthday. And also my mom, today's my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mama. I love you.
All right. I take great pleasure in reminding everyone that, yes, it's budget season beginning next week. And so unfortunately for our first week, we will be conducting budget hearings in the old council chambers. Hope to see you all there. We are adjourned.
Howard, do you want to come up with the TV?
The vote is open.